1. India-Pakistan relations. This article starts from the past and comes to the present, and how past and present have so far molded India's foreign policy towards Pakistan. Pakistan was born out of M.A. Jinnah's two-nation theory. Hindus and Muslims were two separate nations, and therefore two states must be constituted for the two communities. Pakistan foreign policy has been more on hostility towards India. Various issues that have played up between India and Pakistan. The birth of independence. The announcement that paramountcy would lapse in choice was given to the princes who ruled the state was most complicated problem that independent India faced on her independence. Sardar Patel, who was Home Minister in Nehru cabinet, used his persuasive as well as coercive power to bring about merger of 567 of the native states with India. 5 of the states decided to join Pakistan. 3 of the states failed to take any decision. These were Junagadh, Hyderabad and Jammu and Kashmir. The state of Junagadh, in Kathiawad region, was ruled by a Muslim Nawab, but had a majority of Hindu population. He prolonged the decision on merger, and finally chose to join Pakistan, since Junagadh is surrounded by Indian territory. Pakistan showed no interest. India was forced to take military action in Junagadh. The Nawab fled to Pakistan. Plebiscite was conducted which India won. This was followed by Nizam of Hyderabad, who dreamt of an independent country and yet maintaining contacts with Pakistan. The Nizam let loose Razakars, who were fundamentalists who attacked the population. Finally Operation Polo was launched and situation was brought under control. Kashmir dispute. Kashmir was called the heaven on earth, but the hostile conditions between two nations has made it most affected since partition. This northern state was populated predominantly by Muslims and was ruled by a Hindu Maharaja, Hari Singh. Maharaja Hari Singh did not take any decision regarding state succession before, or immediately after, August 15, 1947. He planned to declare his kingdom independent. Pakistan started mounting pressure on him. Prior to attack on Kashmir by Pakistan-sponsored tribals, Pakistani foreign official tried persuading him. After the failure, Pakistan-sponsored tribesmen attacked Kashmir. After this aggression by Pakistan, Hari Singh went in favor of accession to India. India sent her troops, said after the aggression was vacated the wishes of the people would be ascertained on the question of accession. The Pakistani side disapproved the accession. On January 1, 1948, India brought the matter to the notice of the United Nations Security Council under Article 35 of the Charter. India sought UN assistance to have Pakistan supported. Aggression vacated. Pakistan had installed the so-called Azad Kashmir government in the territory occupied by the invaders. Even today Pakistan insists that the area under its control is independent or Azad Kashmir. During the pendency of the dispute in the Security Council, Liaquat Ali Khan, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, announced that his government was willing to accept the proposal of plebiscite, but stipulated certain conditions on which Azad Kashmir government could be persuaded to accept ceasefire. Liaquat Ali wanted withdrawal of Indian troops and immobilization of state security forces, substitution of Sheikh Abdullah's government by a coalition including representatives of Azad Kashmir, and then holding of plebiscite under international supervision. These conditions were totally unacceptable to India. Taking the issue to UN turned out to be one of gravest of mistakes by Nehru government. After careful consideration, the Security Council appointed a three-member commission on January 20, 1948. The commission had one nominee each of India and Pakistan, and the third member was to be chosen by the two nominees. India nominated Czechoslovakia and Pakistan nominated Argentina. As both could not agree on common member, USA was appointed for the post. The Security Council added two more members, Belgium and Colombia. The commission was now called the United Nations Commission for India and Pakistan UNCIP. The UNCIP submitted report which said, Pakistan should withdraw its troops from Jammu and Kashmir as soon as possible after the ceasefire. Pakistan should also try for withdrawal of tribesmen and Pakistan nationals who are not ordinary residents of Kashmir. The territory thus vacated by Pakistani troops should be administered by local officials under the supervision of the Commission. India should also withdraw substantial strength of its troops. Finally, pending a final agreement, India should maintain only such limited troops as should be essential for law and order. After initial reluctance, Pakistan accepted these proposals and a ceasefire agreement was signed, which was implemented by the two commanders on the midnight of January 1, 1949. The war ended and a ceasefire became effective. The ceasefire line, now called the Line of Control, was drawn where the fighting ended. The region with Pakistan is called as Azad Kashmir. The UNCIP recommended that the disagreements between the countries be brought before the plebiscite administrator, which India refused. The issue fell apart. The administrator resigned. The McNaughton Plan. General McNaughton was the president of Security Council. He worked as an informal mediator. Pakistan was in no mood to leave the land that it had transgressed on. McNaughton proposed demilitarization of the complete region and a move towards plebiscite. The plan did not make any mention between the aggressor and the victim, hence rejected by India. The Dixon Proposal. After the failure of McNaughton Plan, Sir Owen Dixon, a judge of the High Court of Australia, was assigned to look into the Kashmir issue. He proposed complete demilitarization of the region, which India objected as India was in her territory and Pakistan being the aggressor in the case. Dixon acknowledged India's contention of Pakistan's violation yet kept both at same power. Dixon proposed partition of Jammu and Kashmir along the ceasefire line, and yet he suggested plebiscite in the valley to determine its future. India opposed the proposal. Dixon suggested direct negotiations between two countries in the end. India-Pakistan relations till 1965 war. Pakistan joined the Western Bloc against the spread of communism. In reality, it wanted to extract as much resources and forces against India by all possible means. Joined Western Bloc in 1954 and signed military pact with USA, Southeast Asia Treaty Organization, SEATO, and Baghdad Pact. Pakistan used USA's fight against communism and played up to its aid, claiming if Kashmir issue was not resolved, the spread of communism to Kashmir was imminent. Soon USA started giving military aid was given to Pakistan for the containment of communism, which later turned out to be war in Afghanistan, which has been discussed earlier in Indo-Afghan section. When Pakistan realized Western Bloc did not serve its purpose, moved close towards China. Both turned opportunistic friends post-India-China War of 1962. When USA and Britain gave aids to India during the Indo-China War, Pakistan vehemently opposed it. A joint statement November 1962 was issued by Nehru and Ayub Khan that disputes between India and Pakistan would be solved by dialogue. But on the eve of Calcutta meeting with India, Pakistan transferred to China territories which India claimed right on, proving Pakistan's double-speak. Dispute of Rann of Kutch. Situated on Gujarat-Sindh border, Pakistan claims right over the region. India refuses, followed by armed clash in April 1965. Pakistan crossed borders and took control of some parts of Kutch. The weapons used by Pakistan at this time was from USA aids. Following the mediation by British PM Wilson, ceasefire took place and troops moved back to Jan 1965 positions. Was decided that the issue be placed before a 3-member tribunal of arbitrators. The award came in 1968, which was 10% for Pakistan and 90% for India. This order was criticized back in India, but as the commitment was made in 1965, she decided to keep her promise. Indo-Pak War 1965. The gamble that Pakistan took in Kutch was followed by the infiltration bid by Pakistan in Kashmir. Pakistani army men in civilian were sent to infiltrate into Kashmir. Earlier, Pakistan had been sending feelers to Soviet Union of friendship between the two nations, which Soviet Union responded positively, which disturbed India. Indian PM Lal Bahadur Shastri went to Soviet Union to strengthen India's ties more towards India, with little success. The infiltration bid was announced in Radio Pakistan as a fit by the Kashmiris against the state machinery while the infiltrators were inciting violence. Radio Pakistan claimed the Kashmiris revolted, the airport had fallen and Srinagar was about to fall, whereas the reality was otherwise. The armed forces took up the matter, foiled all the bids to destroy peace in Kashmir, followed it with attacking infiltration camps, capturing and sealing Pas Hajipur Pass, which was used to enter India by infiltrators. India requested UN General Secretary U. Than to ensure withdrawal of infiltrators, but Pakistan claimed innocence. The disastrous failure of infiltrators led to war on India. Pakistani army crossed borders and attacked India, forcing her into war. Pakistan again started demanding demilitarization and plebiscite. The war began with bombing by Pakistan on Indian territories. India started pushing back Pakistani armed forces. At this juncture, China supported Pakistan, making an ultimatum that India close her military base in Tibet-Sikkim border. When sign of Pakistani defeat was imminent, Pakistan accepted ceasefire agreement. India gained 750 square miles of Pakistani territory. This enabled the armed forces to regain its confidence after the defeat in the hands of China. But the land gained by India was returned back as Tashkent Agreement brokered by Soviet Union PM Koizadjian. Soon Lal Bahadur Shastri dies. Tashkent Agreement. The Tashkent Agreement was a peace deal brokered by Soviet Union. The Pakistani side maintained the same demand of Kashmir, which India called integral part. Both sides stood rigid. Finally, the agreement was signed with the following points in it. India and Pakistan would make all efforts to create good neighborly relations between themselves, and affirmed their obligations under the UN Charter not to resort to force, but settle their disputes through peaceful means. All armed personnel of India and Pakistan were to be withdrawn latest by February 25, 1966 to the positions they held prior to August 5, 1965, thereby India losing the territory she captured during the war. The relations between India and Pakistan would be based on the principle of non-interference in the internal affairs of each other. Both sides would discourage propaganda directed against each other, and encourage propaganda for promotion of friendly relations between the two. Normal diplomatic activity was to be restored and the High Commissioners of India and Pakistan were to resume their duties. Economic and trade relations, communication as well as cultural exchanges would be restored between India and Pakistan. Sooner than expected, the Tashkent Agreement was in shambles with increasing tensions between India and Pakistan due to various factors. Pakistan tried to improve ties with Soviet Union to isolate India. Signed treaties with China to transfer land to China which India claimed rights as disputed area. The issue of Farokh barrage which involved later became a contentious issue between India-Bangladesh relations. At the height of soaring tensions, India signed Indo-Soviet Treaty of Friendship and Cooperation. By April 1971, Soviet Union had abandoned the policy of simultaneous friendship with both India and Pakistan. Procured more and more arms from USA. The final nail on the coffin was the Indo-Pak War of 1971, the liberation of Bangladesh which India won, and East Pakistan was seceded from Pakistan, which was followed by Shimla Accord explained in India-Bangladesh relations earlier. Indo-Pak relations post-Shimla Agreement. Pakistan kept raising the Kashmir issue again and again, whereas forums with little success. Indira Gandhi-led government did nuclear test which was for peaceful purposes, which again led to soaring tensions. With the fall of Indira government post-emergency and under PM Morarji Desai, special focus was given to mending ties with various neighbors. Confidence-building measures were taken with successful visit by Vajpayee. India's ties with Pakistan improved far better than the earlier times. With re-election of Indira Gandhi, more steps were taken, but Zia regime, which held power through coup, avoided such measures. With this began a new turn of events. Pakistan, after repeated defeats, changed its approach from direct confrontation to promoting terror and destabilizing India, particularly Kashmir, which Pakistan was success in the earlier years. The kidnap of Rubina Said, the daughter of the then Union Minister Mufti Muhammad Said, led to prolonged bargaining. For about 7 years there was no elections. There was prolonged battle between the militants and the security forces. Since 1991, J&K was unrepresented in Lok Sabha. Only after 1996 was election held in which Dr. Farooq Abdullah's National Conference emerged victorious. Steps taken by successive governments in India bore no fruit, as both Zia-led government and Bhutto-led government had an approach of all or nothing which led to a diplomatic standstill. On the other hand, India's relation with China and USA improved greatly, thus adding more advantage on the Indian side. The Gujral Doctrine. The Gujral Doctrine was based on the PM's approach, larger neighbor giving more. According to this, various confidence-building measures were taken, of which the notable ones being easing up of passport norms, free visas for journalists, students, senior citizens. But the overtures from the Indian side were not reciprocated by the Pakistani side, as they clung to Kashmir as the core issue and the tug of war continued. Post-nuclear tests. As India followed by Pakistan conducted nuclear tests, both countries were put under sanctions which lead to reduction tensions between two sides. Under the leadership of then PM Atal Bihari Vajpayee, confidence-building measures were taken under which bus between Delhi and Lahore was proposed. The bus diplomacy was seen as a new milestone. Vajpayee himself took the first trip, but the same was reciprocated by the Pakistani side. At formal official level, both PMs signed the Lahore Declaration. The Lahore Declaration and the Kargil War 1998. The Lahore Declaration was about peace between neighbors, not to interfere in internal matters of other countries. Commitment to UN Charter. While Lahore Declaration was signed, Pakistani army and civilian-dressed army personnel had intruded the Kargil sector, transgressing 10 kilometers into Indian territory. This led to Operation Vijay, in which Indian forces flushed out the Pakistani forces and won the war. While Pakistan claimed it to be Kashmiri freedom fighters, nobody was ready to buy it, and Pakistan was isolated in the international community. This was followed by military coup in Pakistan, which Nawaz Sharif declared himself the chief executive of Pakistan. India's second gamble. Despite opposition against speaking to a military ruler, Vajpayee again tried to improve Indo-Pak relations, which was called Agra Talks 2001. Agra Talks failed as both sides could not come to agreement on draft declaration. It got worse as Musharraf blamed India for 1971 war and raked up Kashmir. Thus the declaration failed to cover ground. Matters got worse when 9/11 attack on Twin Towers by Al-Qaeda terrorist group, which stayed in Afghanistan as USA needed Pakistani help to sustain attack on Taliban. Musharraf grabbed this opportunity. This alliance solved the monetary and military support that Pakistan was in dire need of. India-Pakistan standoff. India-Pakistan relation reached its worst phase when a group of Pakistan-trained militants attacked the parliament when in session. An attempt was made to bomb the Kashmir Secretariat. All this snowballed into a state of war. India recalled her High Commissioner from Hyderabad and sent back Deputy High Commissioner of Pakistan, as it was found him involved in funding money to terrorists. India mobilized troops in her borders Operation Parakam, which was responded by Pakistan. Elections were held in J&K despite infiltration bids by Pakistan. Fake currency notes. Pakistan has been officially printing fake currency notes and pushing into Indian borders for terror funding. Recent analysis by Whereas Intelligence Wings proved Pakistan's involvement in fake Indian currency notes, FICN. Most of the pivotal parameters of the paper, like GSM, paper density measured in grams per square meter, wax pick quotient, and polyvinyl alcohol and pH values were found matching with the legal tender of Pakistan. The parliamentary panel was informed that the volume of fictin smuggled into India in 2010 was between Rs. 1,500 and R'(S.1,700 crores, which went up to R'(S.2,500 crore in 2012, a rise of 55%. Conclusion. The only future ahead for Indo-Pak relations is Pakistan giving up terror funding and making earnest efforts to improve relation with India through trade and other options.